7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! I invite you to rise in body and or spirit for our opening hymn, There Is More Love Somewhere. Good morning. Good morning. Woo! I am Reverend J. Wolin, the settled minister here at the Unitarian Universalist of Sarasota. Now, I've been saying that for 3 weeks. I don't even have to stumble on that anymore. For those who are new here, we just changed our name a few weeks ago. We especially want to welcome everyone today, and as well as the people who are online watching over our live stream on YouTube. As well, we invite all visitors to participate in any of the events at the UU. We welcome visitors to find out more about Unitarian Universalism. We invite you to consider registering in our virtual guest book, which you can find via a link on the homepage of our website, uusrq.org. And if you are here in person, we actually have physical sign-up sheets that you can fill out. Yes, and if you do, you will get a weekly newsletter by email and the occasional other email, just occasional, of important things we want to make sure that you focus on. And of course, as always, we invite you to coffee and conversation after the service. And today, after the service, we have our congregational conversation, if you want to participate, about mission and vision that our task force is working on. We will be asking for feedback, hearing from you about what your needs are and what your aspirations for the UUs of Sarasota are. We will be in the Lexow wing, and so please grab your food from the potluck and bring it into the Lexow wing for some good conversation. There also will be a survey coming out this week as well, so please check your email for that as well this week, the survey about the mission and vision. And so now I would like to invite up Norma from the UUA to talk about the UUA Day of Action.
Good morning. My name is Nora Rassman, and starting tomorrow, I will be the new democracy strategist at the Unitarian Universalist Association. So I'm really hitting the ground running. Like, I'm here before my job actually begins, and that's because people in Florida have been throwing down to protect and expand our right to abortion access here in Florida. Yes. Yeah. I'm so grateful for this congregation and congregations around the state who have been acting as hubs, sending people into the streets, making phone calls, texting, to make sure that not only do we have abortion access in Florida, but also we continue the fight for broader reproductive justice, that we all have control of our own body and autonomy. So I want to invite you to a special day of action. We're going to be meeting at the University Town Center near the DSW between noon and 4. Come anytime. We'll have 2 shifts, but we'd love for you to join us. And we're doing this in conjunction with UUs across the state. Folks are taking action today in Venice, Orlando, and West Palm Beach, which are 3 of the other priority places where we still need signatures. So if you haven't signed already, make sure that you do sign a petition. We have them here on site. Join us at the University Town Center anytime between noon and 4. The earlier, the better. And if you're looking for ways to virtually support, I and Pam and other folks will be here after services to talk more. So thanks so much for welcoming me.
Our opening reading today is by Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. And now today, in addition to our chalice lighting, we're going to be lighting our Hanukkah candles. As someone from a Jewish background, for myself, it's an important thing to celebrate this holiday. The center candle is called the Shamash candle, and we will light that now as I say the prayer for lighting the candle. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvaso v'tzivanu lahadlikneh lahadlikneh shel Hanukkah. Blessed is the eternal source of all, endowing us with mitzvot, enabling us to kindle the light of Hanukkah. Although it is normally lit in the evenings, these candles, my theory is it's the evening somewhere in the world. And so now we light the other 3 candles. Baruch ha'or ba'olam, radiant is the light in the world. Baruch ha'or ba'adam, radiant is the light within each person. We celebrate freedom won long ago. We light these candles in our spiritual home, and we hope that in the world, the light will shine for all. We now will join in our regular chalice lighting. I invite you to repeat with me the words that are going to be up there. Hey, okay. And please join in with me. As we light this chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, we affirm the value of equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? I'm not doing a story today, but I'm going to do a demonstration for you. And I'd like to invite Asa and his dad to come forward to help me out with that. Come on, Asa. Stand right next to me. Very good. Awesome. Thank you. So, Asa, do you know how many cookies I have on this plate? Can you count them?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right, 6 cookies. I have 6 cookies on this plate. Now, if we were going to make it equal, and I give the same amount to you as to your daddy, do you know how many cookies you're going to get? No? 3. So you hold on to 3 cookies. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we're going to give 3 to your daddy too. 1, 2, 3. Now, everything is equal. This is equal, right? But is it fair? Because you've got 3 and he's got 3, but stand up for a second, Daddy. Look at how much bigger Daddy is than you. Yeah, so maybe Daddy needs more than you because he's bigger than you. So, I know, it's hard. Should he have one more?
How many should I get? 4.
Uh-oh, that one's kind of crumbly. We'll hold on that one on the plate. Give Daddy the other one that's not crumbly.
Why should I get 4?
Because he's taller. That's right. So this is what equity is. You get it for what the person needs. Thank you so much. Now, all of these cookies are yours. You can take the plate with you.
I don't know about that.
Well, Dad can do that. All right.
2 of them are yours.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Melina and Raven to come up and help me with the next part of the demonstration. Come stand in the middle. There we go. Okay, this is where your imagination comes in. Just imagine these 2 sisters are exactly the same height, they're exactly the same age, and they're twins, and they go and they're in the same class, okay? But they're not sisters, really. They're just two individuals, exactly the same. So before we had somebody who was small and somebody who was big. Now we have two people who are equal, right? Okay, they're equal, they're in the 3rd grade, they're, have the same education that everybody gets. And there's a lot of people who say, okay, they have exactly the same thing and exactly the same opportunity to hit the American dream. But we know that when a person is unhoused or homeless, and we have 450 children now already in the school system who have been identified as housing insecure, that makes it harder for them to study and to get ahead in their classwork. So Melina, I'd like you to take a step over there, please. One step. Right, Raven, stay right here. We also know that when children are subjected to violence, that too impacts their ability to study and learn. So Melina, I want you to take another step. Okay. And we also know that when they are food insecure and they have to worry about that impacts their ability to study and learn. So one more step. So, on top of that, we know that people who have resources are able to help their children with extracurricular activities and extra training and tutoring. And they also often have connections in the world to help them. So Raven, I want you to take one step that way. One step closer. Okay. So to add to that, we add racism and all the systemic racism and oppressions that we have. And for those of you who have never held one of these, this is called a medicine ball. It's 8 pounds. Let me add that to where you already are. And this is a lightweight basketball, not pumped up, so don't squeeze it because you'll show a deflate gate. So this ball, given to the person who's already a little bit closer to the basket, is light and full of air. So, can each one of these individuals make the American dream? Yes, they can. But for this person, how easy do you think it'll be to make that basket if I ask you to shoot it, which I'm not asking you to do? This is just a suppose. If you are this close, how do you think you can make that basket? Yep, pretty good. How about you? Not very easily. They can make it. I used to coach this age group for basketball, so I know they can make it, but it's very, very difficult. So, where is the equity here? And how can we make this more equitable? Because for people to say everybody has the same opportunity if they go through the same school system and the same community, it's not true. How do we make it more equitable? So that's your lesson for today and something to think about as you go and learn more about equity. Thank you, girls, for helping me out. Thank you. That's it. Now, yep, I'll take the medicine ball. Thank you. So now I invite all our younger UUs to join us in the West Wing, where we will have a lesson on magic, mystery, or miracle. Thank you.
So I invite you, as we get ready for our centering words, to just take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, breathe in and out as I share these words. Welcome to this time and place where equity and justice transcend mere dreams, where they are the air that we breathe. Enter this sanctuary of time. All who yearn for respite from a world rife with scarcity and inequity, rife with the relentless shackles of privilege and bias. Come, embrace this space and time. Be embraced by this place, this refuge where scarcity and disparity dissolve into we together, crafting a place where the breath of life is equity and justice, cherished, manifested, and sustained. So let us take a time of silence now to contemplate all that cherishes and sustains us. We have a special ceremony. We do this about 3 or 4 times a year where we recognize new members to our congregation. And so first I'd like to invite up our membership chair, Joan Bennett, as well as a board member, I believe Karen Bush, to help participate, and then the new members as well who are being recognized. Please come up, new members, and be recognized. Do you have a microphone? Come on down. You're our grand prize winners today.
Now is the time during the service that we honor our newest members and their decision to join the UUs of Sarasota. We encourage you to share with us your creative thoughts, your vital experiences in life, your doubts, your dreams about what life and our lives together can be.
It is a joy to welcome each of you as a member into our community. Becoming a member of the UUs of Sarasota is an important step, but it is only a first step. I encourage you to grow in your religious lives and to explore and share your unique gifts with us. Will you journey together with us, sharing the joys and responsibilities of membership? If you agree, please say yes.
Yes. Members of Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota, will you reach out to these people in friendship, including them in our activities? Will you walk with them on their religious journey? Will you be open to their unique gifts and perspectives? Will you extend a warm welcome to each of them, remembering that each of you was once a new member? Yes!
Talents and commitment to yours. You are part of us, and we are part of you.
Ours is a shared ministry to help each other find meaning in life and to build a just and compassionate life and world, working to fulfill the mission of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. So let's all give our new members a round of applause. And we welcome you, and we hope to you engage with all of us, and we hope that all of you engage with them. Thank you. Thank you. Well, as you notice, I said this is a shared ministry, and the truth is we do, as I said in the new member lunch we had, that except for some programs that maybe I or Catherine Bonner, our director of programs, leads, almost all the programs in the congregation are led by members. But yes, I heard somebody laughing because it is true that otherwise we also include sharing of some of your money as we take our offering for the work of the UUs of Sarasota. Please be as generous as you can. For those online, there is a link, or here on your cell phone, there's a link on the YouTube page, or there is a QR code in the order of service. Let this sacred time begin. And thank you for all the people clapping so I knew when to come in on 2 and 4. Thank you. Thank you. Our next reading today is from the Reverend Emily Gage. Justice, equity, and compassion in human relations points us towards something beyond inherent worth and dignity. It points us to the larger community. It gets at the collective responsibility. It reminds us that treating people as human beings is not simply something we do one-on-one, but something that has systemic implications and can inform our entire cultural way of being. Compassion is something that we can easily act on individually. We can demonstrate openness, give people respect, and treat people with kindness of our own. But we need one another to achieve equity and justice. That just sounded great. That did. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody who wants to join the choir, when do they practice? Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. You can be a part of the magic, I'm just saying. So, the Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws, Article 2 includes sections on its principles and sources, purposes, inclusion, and a freedom of belief statement. The UUA is required by its bylaws to review Article 2 at least every 15 years. We believe revelation is ongoing, and therefore it is necessary, if necessary, we should adapt our bylaws as we adapt to new circumstances in our religion and in the world around us. Now, in June of 2023, at our annual gathering of congregations called General Assembly, changes recommended to Article 2 were approved by over 86% of the delegates voting to continued discussion in congregations for a year. And this June 2024, we as a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association will have delegates that will vote for or against these changes to Article 2 of the bylaws. Now, the recommendation includes replacing the section entitled Principles with a section entitled Values and Covenants. And we said one of those values and covenants this morning when we lit the chalice. So I'm hoping I'm going to be doing this here, a series of sermons based on the values in Article 2. Hopefully it will inspire you to discern if these changes align with our values. And as well, later in the year, we will have congregational conversations on Article 2, and we hope you will participate to learn more and to give our delegates a sense of how to vote. Now, the first thing, you see the picture above me, you will notice that the values are not numbered like our principles. There is no sequence or hierarchy to them, and that is intentional. And today I am exploring the value of equity. It states, and I just want to say equity, listening to the story this morning, I remember growing up, and this is true with my children as well, but I remember growing up as a child, how often I would say to my parents, "That's not fair." I imagine that was something many of us said, and my parents would say to me, sometimes in a nicer tone, sometimes not, like, "Get used to it, Jay." Well, I am here to tell you I have never gotten used to it. And even when my children asked me that, I would say, "Well, go get a job then." I did not say that. But I have said that at times, but not in relation to that question. But I have never stopped and never accepted that answer. Get used to it. I do not get used to it, and I work for fairness every day in my life. But the value of equity is somewhat connected to that. It says, I'll repeat it again, what we said earlier, we declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. End quote. So you can see that our first principle, respect for the inherent worth and dignity of every person, is included here within this value and covenant. One overall emphasis that this new value focuses on is expanding the generalization of our current principle to now encompass a why and how statement. It also expands what could be seen as an individualistic expression of our principles to have them specifically encompass the community as a whole. Now, the goal of having worth and respect for each person is so that each person can have the ability to flourish. The goal of our community, being accessible and inclusive, right, is so that every person in the community can flourish. Now, that may have been implicit in our current principles, but the new values make it and put it forth in an explicit manner. Now, the value is also very explicit in placing the responsibility on the community as a whole, not just us individually to act in certain ways. So, first I had to step back. No, okay. But I did. Intellectually, metaphorically, I had to step back and think, okay, what does it mean to flourish, right? That to me is a critical statement there. So I do whatever I do when I have a difficult question, I Google it. And I Googled human flourishing, and I found, and there are many programs on this, but I went to Harvard's Human Flourishing Project. And Harvard sees the following domains affecting human flourishing. 1, happiness and life satisfaction. 2, mental and physical health. 3, meaning and purpose. 4, close social relationships. And 5, character and virtue. So I was curious what they meant by character and virtue, and after wading through some of their materials, and trust me, there's a lot of materials on the Harvard website, it defines it as 1, acting to promote good in all circumstances, even in difficult and challenging situations. 2, able to give up some happiness now for greater happiness later. And it then goes on to discuss how to flourish, including cognitively, behaviorally, and engaging in relationships and institutions. Cognitively, it states we should generate the mindset of gratitude, we should savor and recognize the good, and imagining one's best possible self. Behaviorally, it speaks of volunteering, okay? Volunteering to live a happy life. And as well, it speaks, what else? Of acts of kindness and use of character strength. So, again, what does that mean, the use of character strength? So what they're talking about is the Greek philosopher Aristotle's idea of eudaimonia, which also can be translated as either happiness or flourishing. Aristotle wrote, flourishing involves 3 dimensions: the virtue or states of character, 2, practical wisdom, to know what the right thing to do is, and then 3, we must have moral strength to do the right thing that we know to do. So it's not enough to just have good intentions. Intentions must be manifested in the world if our life is to have meaning. And by virtue, Aristotle means, he talked about the mean between the extremes, or the mean between excess and nothing, right? So the Buddhists would call that the middle way, right? So sort of like the top of a triangle, not either or, but a place in the middle that's higher up. And it's more art than science, such as, and I'll give you an example, the virtue of courage. It is the mean between cowardice, right, running away at the first sign of danger, or rashness, immediately rushing into danger without even knowing what the circumstances are. And the goal is, in each circumstance, in knowing in each circumstance how much courage is warranted in a given situation, and that is virtue according to Aristotle. Now, the third way of flourishing mentioned in the Harvard study is engaging in relationships and institutions. So it should be of no surprise, I'm going to raise up, that flourishing increases the more you attend religious services. Harvard said it, not me. But engaging in relationships, and to me, this is the important one, and I think is the most important aspect of flourishing, human flourishing. The Jewish theologian Martin Buber, in his book I, Thou, wrote, and I quote, "When we walk our way and encounter a human who comes towards us walking their way, we know our way only and not theirs. For their way comes to life for us only in an encounter." End quote. In the book I, Thou, Buber differentiates what he calls I-it relationships, where we see people as objects, with what he calls I-thou relationships, which are where we would see the inherent worth and dignity and wholeness of the other person. In the I-it relationship, we experience people only from our perspective, where our encounters are only a means to an end. And now that is not always a bad thing. If you think about, he used an example, a doctor-patient relationship is sort of an I-it relationship, at least with most doctors that I have had. And then he compares that to the I-thou relationship, whereas we understand the interdependence of all things. He uses the example of tones composing a melody, or lines of a statute, or words in a poem. And he writes, and I quote, "You can break apart the multiplicity of all the tones, the lines, and the words, but individually they are only I-it, objects of their own. Only together is the thou created." End quote. I think we just think about the choir piece we just heard. You know, each individually was beautiful, but together, all the different sounds coming together really made it greater than the parts themselves. And this is, I say, similar for human beings and congregations and society at large. We are all a multitude of many, many individuals and experiences, but we can only be known as a whole in relation to each other. So how are we known, or how do we want to be known in the future? These are some of the questions that we will be asking in the congregational conversation later today. All of the different parts of our work. You think about work, relationships, you're coming to the UU, leisure activities. They all make up the wholeness of the individual. And all the communities in this congregation, right, make up the wholeness of the congregation, whether it's music, adult RE, children's RE, all the different social justice work that we do. They're all individual programs, but together they make up the whole of who we are. We cannot know ourselves or the congregation only from our own internal perspective or in the particular, but rather we can only know ourselves and the UU of Sarasota in relation to everything and everyone else in their fullness. That is the I-thou relationship. Buber goes on to argue that it is hate, not love, that is blind. Right? Hate only knows a portion of the other. Love engages and is open to all parts of the other. Buber writes, and I quote, "Only when we encounter another individual truly as a person not as an object for use, we become fully human. And when two people relate to each other authentically and humanely, that is where God is found, end quote. And this is something that does not occur overnight. It's a habit that is created over a lifetime. Aristotle wrote, "Not happiness for an instant or a moment, for one day does not make a summer, and so too one day does not make a person blessed happy." End quote. Life is a journey, one we are constantly working on. And Aristotle makes clear that flourishing cannot happen in a vacuum. It requires friendships and community for it to come to fruition. And similar to Aristotle, the Dhammapada, a text with the teachings of the Buddha, indicate, and I quote, "As farmers irrigate their fields by directing water, as archers make their arrows straight, as carpenters shape a piece of wood, the wise shape their minds," end quote. And we have to become proficient in whatever it is we are trying to do. And that requires experimenting with new ideas and ways of being and finding what works and what does not work, and not becoming attached to a particular outcome, but refining and improving ourselves and the ideas that help us reach what we determine as a community our goal is. Yeah, and thinking of the Dhammapada when I was writing this, I realized that our Sunday afternoon meditation group is actually called Mindfulness-Based Human Flourishing. Just a little synchronicity there for me I couldn't ignore. So I looked it up a little more. The group is connected with the secular Buddhist teacher Stephen Batchelor. Batchelor would say that mindful meditation can lead to awakening, which leads to human flourishing. He doesn't see awakening as some mystical or esoteric idea. He says, and I quote, "Awakening is the opening up of a way of being in the world that is no longer determined by one's greed, hatred, fear, selfishness. Awakening is not a state, but a process, an ethical way of life and commitment that enables human flourishing. Human flourishing first stirs in that clear, bright, empty space where neurotic self-centeredness realizes that it has no ground at all to stand on. One is then free to pour forth like sunlight," end quote. And so speaking of light and sunlight, I want to just make note of the Hanukkah candles that I lit earlier. A celebration of Hanukkah, which started this week, tells the story of Jewish people in the 2nd century BCE overthrowing the more powerful Greek occupying forces and reclaiming and rededicating their temple. Now, they only had enough oil for one day, one night, and it would be a week before they could produce enough oil to create more oil for the temple. And that's why they needed it to last 8 days. And so they lit the oil, and it lasted 8 days, as the miracle story tells us. And we focus on the end result of that story, that it lasted 8 days. But I ask you to focus on days 1 through 7. Some had to go out and create more oil. Others had to start cleaning up the temple, right? Each had their roles to play. None had any idea if the oil would last, yet each day they showed up and they kept working at it, working to keep their religion alive and vibrant, working for what they believed in, not knowing if it would work, not knowing what the outcome would be, not knowing if the oil would last, but they still showed up. It's easy looking back to create a celebration of reconsecrating the temple, but it is the work that goes into the cleaning and creating the environment that allowed them to create that moment, that miracle. For that is the real miracle. That a people had a dream of creating their own way, a different way than the powerful cultural forces surrounding them, and they had the faith in their vision, and with assurance, without assurance, they worked towards making it a reality. That is the celebration of Hanukkah. The fact that it is 8 days is a reminder to us that miracles are not instantaneous events, but rather a process that is created by the commitment of the gathered community over a long period of time. And so I ask you to make that miracle. I ask you to be committed to the life of and the vibrancy of the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota, so that our values, including the value of equity, the value that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness, however we word that, that every person has that right, and that that value will be known and lived out in the larger community. May it be so. I invite you to rise in body and/or spirit for our closing hymn, The Fire of Commitment. want to know what you will do about it. I do not want to know what you hope. I want to know what you will work for. Please join me now in extinguishing the chalice. The words will be up on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all for your presence here today, and I look forward, get some coffee, I look forward to you, and food, look forward to seeing you in congregational conversations. Thank you.